possible. I kind of think that it's inevitable in a free society that's going to happen again. And if it does happen again, we're intelligent enough to give you 100 different answers to a question that's baffling everybody around this country. And we are in love, aside from what you said, Evelyn, we're in love with our guns. We absolutely, they masturbate with the guns, these guys. These guys actually get in their room, they shun the sex, they say, the hell with sex, I'll just get in here with my guns and have a good old time. I
love to see that, honestly.
It's actually something that goes back to a sexual kind of a thing. I believe that, but to get serious for a minute, there are no answers, folks. There isn't one answer, that's for sure, and there are no answers. But what you said at the top of the program, you're on point. Get gun control does not mean that we're coming to take away every one of your guns, but that would be impossible. I wish that could occur, but the bad guys would still have them. We'd be in a bad situation anyway. It's much different from your native country, I'm sure, but in this country was built on guns.
Yeah, in my country, nobody carries guns unless you get them somewhere on the
Unless you're
market.
An official or something?
Yeah, you have to be like an officer, like a police officer, or work for the agency.
A citizen can't get a gun?
Not that I know of. Perhaps things might have changed, but I don't think so. Unless like you do get guns illegally, but I don't feel like you can actually get them, like get a license and like be allowed to have one.
Since you've been here in the good old US of A, and you've settled into New York City so beautifully, because you have, what was the most difficult situation that you've come across in New York as far as becoming comfortable in this big city? Or did it happen right away? I'm curious. I won't stay on this too long, but I'm curious.
Whoever listens in New York City, you can never get too comfortable.
So the key is not to get too comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, if you do get comfortable, trust me, it's not real. It's gonna pass sooner than later.
What's the freakiest thing that's happened? Strangest
I feel like
thing.
the living situation in New York City is really strange, where you like, when you get to, experience different people, because you just end up like sharing those apartments with strangers, and it can get pretty crazy. The whole myth about like Craigslist ads and like people like advertising their places, and it turns out to be something different than it's advertised to be. It's all true. So I feel like this is definitely the strangest, part of living. Like, not the stranger, but like, it's...
The moment you arrived in New York, was it magical?
It was. My jaw dropped when I saw the skyline, I have to admit that.
Where did you come in? What airport or...
It was JFK.
And you went directly where?
To Brooklyn, but I was driving by. I have no idea how we got to see it, but we
But you did, right?
I did, exactly.
You make anything happen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even ask the driver to drive by the water so I could see it, but did have a chance to look at it, and yeah.
And you said we like, with friends you were?
Yeah, I was here. Yeah, my friend was in the car. So, both. I looked at her jaw was also down. I was like, okay, look at you, girl. We're having the same experience. I guess you love it too. So,
right.
Yeah. That was
it was interesting. I used to come here as a young actor and audition all the time, live in Jersey and come across the bridge and go to auditions and work here, but go back home to my nice, comfortable place in New Jersey. And then one time I decided, big shot, you have to move to New York.
You have to move.
I felt like I felt compelled to move to New York because I felt as though all the big, well, let me put it this way. The vibe in the city, I was missing that, and it was hurting my career in a certain extent, so I decided to move. And when I actually slept in New York City in my own apartment for the first time, it was a great feeling.
It's the best feeling.
It was a great feeling. It was, and this is, let me think, 1989, and it was a great feeling.
Which area were you living in?
I was in the village, West
How was that back then?
Dangerous.
So it was a great feeling.
But I didn't care about that because other things were happening.
You were in your little box in West Village, right?
Well, there were certain...
2x2?
No, actually probably as big as this room.
Not bad.
Around about a studio, maybe a little bit bigger.
That's a good standard.
A little bit bigger. It was just me. So it was okay, and I was a kid. I was 29. I know.
The reason I'm saying that is
Yeah.
just because the size of apartments in the city
No,
are
you're right.
ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
They rent a closet in the city.
Exactly.
You know, it's
you
ridiculous.
just like fit a twin bed and yourself.
I was there. I remember waking up, and it was a Joni Mitchell song, "Chelsea Morning." I don't know if you know it, but and I actually put that on my. It was an album at the time, and I put that on, and I played Joni Mitchell, "Chelsea Morning," and I was in the Village, which is close, and I looked outside. The sun was rising on the I think it was the Hudson, or else it was the other side of the river. The East River. Yeah, I think it was the East River, and it was beautiful. And I said, man, I'm home. I said, I'm home. And when you went outside in Alphabet City, it was dangerous.
You almost got shot?
Well, here's my story about people holding guns to me.
Yeah.
I went to withdraw money, and you went to went to the money machine, and some guy put the just like this, very calmly, the way I just touched your shoulder, just like this, but not a finger, but a gun. And he said, give it to me now. And you know what I did, because I'm not stupid? I said, how much do you want? Because the guy's got a gun. I'm a big, strong guy and everything, and everybody thinks they're macho, but if you got a gun in this area here, you give the money. And I didn't even think twice.
That's what they say?
I took the wallet. I'll be damned if I'm going to get shot for $200. You understand the mindset? I'm not going to get shot for $200 stupid dollars. So I gave him the money. I was in the city for about 6 months when that happened. The other time.
So that didn't scare you off? That still didn't
No
make you
way.
feel like, I want to live in Jersey where I'm comfortable? And
Those
safe.
dickheads are around anywhere. It doesn't matter, because these guys are going to be around wherever you go. So I figured I'm going to bear with it. But at that time,
might as well live the life.
Yeah, and I never regretted giving them the money, but I didn't even hesitate. I said take. I wasn't going to be a chicken person. I was kind of like, I said, I thought it was on my station there for a minute. I wasn't going to be chicken. I just said, here. I was angry, kind of, but I didn't make a sudden move. I just said, take it. And I turned. I'm going to walk away, and you're going to have the money. I'm going to walk away now. And I turned and walked away. Now listen to this. 6 months later.
The same guy.
No, but that would be too ridiculous. I couldn't even.
You're too big for that.
I couldn't even make up a story like that. I'm walking out. He said, "Yo, do bullets bounce off your chest, y'all?" And I said, I turned around. I knew I was in trouble. And another guy, he said, "Mother effer, give me your effing money." So I did this thing again. I said, "Listen, I'm going to put this all happened within 1 year of moving here."
That's insane.
But this is also a different time. This is also a more dangerous New York, which was, 30 years ago. Today it's much different, although anything can happen anytime. This time I took the wallet, put it down on the ground, and said, I'm going to walk away, and that's going to be it. And I walked away thinking I'm going to get a bullet between my shoulder blades any minute now, because this guy's nuts. He had this big, oversized thing, and I felt this real animosity that I was this. I come out and look like Superman, and he's going to take my money, and he did just that. And I said, you know something? There is nothing that's going to happen that's going to make me leave this city. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here. Now tell me, if you had 2 incidents within 1 year,
like this,
if it was,
I don't know.
would it have forced you back to your? No, it's not. I'm not trying to scare you.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't. I
It was a different
bring
time.
that on myself, I guess.
Manhattan's very safe.
Yeah, it seems to be safe, but crazies are all over the place, and they
Have
know
you
how
run
to
into any
take.
crazies?
Oh yeah, hell
Give
yeah.
me an idea.
I mean, there are people on the street that just sort of like approach you. The other day I was like walking, trying to get the subway, and this person like walking in front of me just like suddenly banged like their umbrella against like a wall or something that was in front of us.
With a big loud noise.
Yeah, it was like a huge, like big loud noise, and I just jumped. I was like, am I
Right next to you.
Right next to me. I'm like, am I getting hit next?
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment you like show somebody that you're scared, they're gonna go for you. They're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
go for
true.
it. So,
It's all about body language.
Yeah.
how you carry yourself.
So I carry myself like a rock. I don't move. I don't usually give people any facial expressions. I barely smile at them.
Does it help you that
so
you're...
if you ever see me on the street, I'm probably not gonna say hi to you because
Not for any reason other
he's
than...
gonna show me the minute I turn around.
But you're actually statuesque. You're tall, so that helps.
That helps a lot. I feel very sorry for all those like feminine, like small girls
Little
and
5-footers.
Exactly, girls. Stay home.
Stay in your safe apartment.
Yeah.
You heard the advice right from the horse's mouth.
I would not walk past midnight or like whenever it's dark by myself on the street if I was 5 foot tall.
Do you know what Central Park used to be? Now it's a haven.
Circus.
Central Park was known, that was back with the Central Park Jogger. Do you know the case? Have you heard that very famous case that happened many years before you came here? But have you heard that by chance?
Maybe.
It's a woman that got, she was killed by the Central Park Five. But the people they blamed for the crime, what didn't turn out doing it. They didn't do it. It was somebody else. Somebody confessed afterwards. But that was kind of the that was the prime example of what Central Park was a very dangerous place. Now Central Park is a haven. Everybody comes here, all the tourists. They're having a grand old time. But at one time, as soon as it was dusk, you ran out of Central Park. You didn't want to be caught in Central Park in the dark. I don't care if you're 6'5",
you might get prosecuted,
or you're 5 feet. There's something gonna. But now Central Park's so beautiful. You see people, and going back even farther in the '60s and the '70s, nobody went to Central Park. They went if they had to cross from one side of town to the other. They would walk through, but to spend the day in Central Park was unheard of. This is going back to Mayor Lindsay. These other.
Tell me, who was there?
The people that were in Central Park hanging around were the bad people.
So
people up to no good trying to get other people's
money.
So
they weren't scared of other people that were bad people?
And that can bring us back to guns, because those bad guys always had guns. Whatever reason, they get their guns. So people will tell you, why can't the good guys have guns? If those bad guys have guns, I want to have my guns. Why should they have their guns? And that's your biggest argument for guns, because they say the bad guys are going to have them anyway, so I'm going to have my own in case I have to shoot out against one of these bad dudes with guns. But what I'm saying is those people that would hang out in Central Park were the bad guys.
So what do you do if you want to be a bad guy in Central Park and you don't know any other bad guys? You just buy a gun and walk in?
That's a good question.
Do you know what I mean?
Question. I understand what you're saying. What constitutes a bad guy?
Exactly. And how do they even end up there?
A gang member?
I guess so. They were all like gang members.
Not all. It'd be crazy to say all, but it was
so
rough.
So they were too scared to go in by themselves too, so they had to bring like a pack of people with them.
Well, they run in packs. They're bad guys for the most part, because there's strength in numbers. And you feel strong when you have your... So it
doesn't make you feel like no one's really bad? People aren't bad? They just get themselves into bad scenarios?
They're scared too. Yeah, well...
And the number thing where, you meet another person and they spark an idea in your head to do something so-called bad, and then that kind of triggers another
bad
scenario.
Childhoods,
exactly.
Bad parenting.
There is no such a thing as bad people. That's what I'm saying.
So you think everybody comes out of that womb?
Everybody's good.
Everybody comes out of that womb
good.
Just go
through bad experiences.
You don't think that sometimes a baby's brain is a little different from another baby's brain? This guy will grow up to be a physicist, a genius, whereas the other baby will actually grow up to be maybe a bank robber. You don't think that's predetermined?
No, I don't think so. I think the situations make us into who we end up being. It's not just our, traits, our personality types. Yeah, they do make a difference when you put it like that. However, I feel like that bank robber can be turned into some sort of, bank security person that would be great at it because they
Bank
would
security.
know. Yeah, they would know a way how to protect the bank so well not to get robbed. So you can turn like the negative into a positive. The same happens with hackers and like the cybersecurity these days. Cybersecurity is essentially a person that used to hack on dark web and they went legit and they went good and now they make legit money out of what they do and they don't have to hide. So, yeah, it's the situation.
Well, it's interesting. This is Romeo Radio. My friend Evelyn is sitting in, my co-host for this morning. And again, we're pre-recording just to make it clear. If you want to give me a ring, 646-492-2436. I'm thinking of the great city, Chicago in this country, LA. To me, I don't know what it is here, although it's not perfect. If you could put your finger on it, Evelyn, what would you say that this city has? And I know you like LA. You told me the last time we met. What does this city have that's so special?
It has the hustle.
The hustle, that's very good.
It's the hustle central.
The pace.
It's the pace, it's the energy, and yeah, that's what it does. That's what it has. And a lot of people compare New York to London, despite the fact that the architecture looks a lot different to me, at least. But yeah, the hustle, the bustle, the energy here is like nothing else in the world. I've never experienced something like that, and I've not been to any Asian countries that have like Hong Kong or Singapore or Tokyo, which are comparable to New York City.
Tokyo's interesting.
Yeah, I've never been.
Yeah,
so
Tokyo is hustle and bustle the same way, but even more crowded.
Yeah. But how is the energy?
Different.
So what do you mean?
A little more passive.
Okay.
Not as aggressive, but everything's very close. Whereas we keep our distance here. Mm-hmm. In Tokyo, you're next to you're this close to the person, and even if you don't want them to be that close to you, they're very. If you notice that, and this is not stereotypical or racial in any way, the Asians, as opposed to what we are into in this country, although there are many Asian people right here in New York City, they're very used to operating in close quarters, whereas the people like us, the more European-based people, we like our space.
Why is that, you think?
I don't know.
Spoiled?
It's a cultural thing.
I think it has to do with the population, with the size of the population.
That's probably true too. There used to be right on top. If you notice them, if you're standing on a line, this is going to sound terrible. I'm going to say it anyway. You're waiting for a bus. The white guy behind you is going to be way back there, doing his own thing about 4 feet back. But if the Asian woman is right behind you, literally, and I'm just going to, for example, I have to, like this, like breathing down your neck, but not, and then I have to do this, I have to say, miss, please, just a little space, because I'm claustrophobic here. You're dry.
Where are we heading with this?
Sensitive. We're sensitive.
Dry. We're going to dry up. Right.
Dry up is right. You know what drying up is on stage?
No.
If you're an actor, it's a term.
Yeah.
It means you forget your lines. You have no idea what the next line is. You dried up.
I see.
If you're doing Shakespeare.
That's what's happening with the population, with the society right now. We're all drying up.
Do you feel we're too PC?
Yeah, we are. And I don't know.
How would you like it to be?
I would like it to be fun and careless and no guns. And everybody's on the same level, and we all have the same money, and we're living our lives.
Now hold it.
I went too crazy there.
I was with you until everybody. Now you mean the people that are wealthy should take out of their pockets and give to the people?
Yeah.
Should that be mandatory?
It should never be a question. It's just the way it is. Maybe just get rid of money.
How about the goodness? Get rid of money.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what do we use as currency?
Goods. So whatever you're good at, you're gonna exchange it. So the way it works right now, when you, for instance, an emerging actor or whoever in a business, an entertainer, you're trying to get on projects and work with different people, despite the fact of not having experience. So you exchange favors. For instance, I'll do this to help you, and in exchange of this, I'm gonna promote it for you or do whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
So people on those levels, when they sort of in the development stages of their careers, they do things for free and they just like exchange things.
Now, is
instead
that
of
from
money.
coming from a country where the government was much different because of your upbringing? I mean, because of the way you were brought up in it. How was the government there as a small child?
Messy.
Say it again.
It was very messy.
Messy.
Corrupted, yeah, very corrupt, very messy, and I don't think was like well organized. I feel like Polish government has a lot of catching up to do, and I think it's moving towards the right direction. I think the system, because of being in communism, right?
Is it technically communist?
Not anymore. After
It
I
was.
think it was. So I think
Mhm.
that sort of set it back
Mhm.
for about like 20 years. I feel like the Western Europe has developed much faster and more efficiently than the Eastern Europe, and the Eastern Europe's got to catch up. So, and right now it's easier because of the whole internet and sharing of the information, and people are more aware. So I feel like they might be making wiser choices, not necessarily all the time, but they should be
Mhm.
because they're more educated. But
Were there wealthy people as opposed to poor people? Was there a big dichotomy?
I think everyone was sort of the same because of the whole system thing. But yeah, I mean, there are wealthy. There was definitely more poverty than wealth. And
But
I
can
think
somebody
right now,
gain great wealth, or they have to be a member of the elite? The elite
Yeah.
there that would have.
it was very
or
restricted
the government.
it was very restricted to the people that were already successful. So it wasn't as open as it is right now. Like you couldn't just go from a zero to a hero.
Mhm.
You had to be part of a family
that.
or social circle that would like sort of drag you up there. Well, they didn't have to drag you because you were already in there. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I feel like that's why a lot of people also migrated to America because of the whole American dream,
What
which
is the-
might be an American nightmare.
It could be. I know people. I told you I dated this woman who wanted to go back to Poland so badly. She the moment she got there, she said, "This is not for me." She would say those words, "Oh, this is not for me." She was
So
making. She was,
close-minded.
this is not for me. I said, enjoy yourself. Get out there and enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
Let me take you here and there. No matter where I took her, I would take her to the most interesting places, the museums. I took her to all the cultural.
You're boring her.
No, I know. No, it was a cultural kind of. I trying to get her into culture in New York. Good plays, little Shakespeare.
This is not for me.
The opera, the ballet.
Maybe
right?
she wanted to do some crazier
We did that too.
Okay.
But I'm saying, no matter what I did, I must go back. I must go back. I cannot stand it. I must go back. And I would say, sweetheart, it really you put a damper on everything. I'm here to have a good time, and you're dragging me down.
It's just
It may be her personality in general. Why was I attracted to that in the beginning? I have no idea. She was gorgeous, but that's nevertheless. But she had here's the thing, no adaptability.
Exactly, that's very important, and I feel like
Because you adapt well.
Yeah, but that took me some time too. So
You had to gain that talent of adapting.
Of course, I
That
mean
skill.
maybe not a talent.
Not
but
talent,
skill.
wrong word.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, and I went through, years of travel, so I easily adapt to any situations and any cultures and any people, and I absorb them and I learn from them. But there are people out there that are not used to it, and if you live at home for years, you're home for 20, 30 years and you have not seen anything else besides that, it's going to be a lot harder for you to adapt because you're just not used to it. So it takes some time to break the barrier, and the same comes, speaking of languages, it's not that easy to just jump right into another country not knowing a language, and then you have to sort of start communicating with people, and you're making mistakes and people are correcting you. It's embarrassing. You have to sort of step out of your comfort zone. So that takes, I feel like everybody can do it. No one should ever feel like they cannot do that. You can do whatever you want.
How
However-
did you learn? How did they come to you finally, the adaptability?
Just eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize. What is the prize?
Self-growth, I guess like career goals, anything.
Okay.
It could be anything.
What if you have one goal in mind in this city? If you want to make it here, you make it here. Make it here, you'll make it anywhere. You want to make it here. You want to make it here. What do you do to now? Is LA a little bit friendlier?
You're asking somebody that have not
Or
made it
is
yet.
that- Well, okay, I'll give you this. What is your definition of making it? Is it monetary? Is it happiness?
Comfort.
Comfort, meaning that has to do with money.
That has
Because
to do
you
with
have to
a lot of
live
things.
comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. That has to do with money for sure, but money is not the main part
Now,
of it.
comfort meaning what? You expound on that. Tell me.
Freedom and live in a stable life where you don't have those scenarios, living situation is not so shaky. You can live comfortably by yourself, where you want, how you want it. You can surround yourself, well, that actually doesn't go into it. But the people you surround yourself
with good, positive people.
Yeah, that's true, but, you can...
Or go-getters, or people that are
motivating.
like-minded.
Exactly, and then be able to take them away and travel with them and, provide them with entertainment and have a great time and don't worry about a thing.
What's a good time for you at night? In other words, now, by the way, New York never
Sleep.
sleeps. Really, that's great, because that's a great answer, because sleep is hard to come by in New York. Here's the one thing about my first apartment. I put my head on the pillow. I heard every noise in New York because these walls were horrific. This was an old building.
That's what I'm saying, Ralph, you haven't made it yet.
No, this is way back. This is 1925. No, this is way back. I just remember lying in bed during those first nights in that apartment, and my home in New Jersey was quiet as a mouse, and I'm in the big city, and they're blaring sirens out there at 4 a.m. I'm saying, why am I here? But I knew that I had to be here for whatever reason. But here's what I want to know, and I'll leave you alone after this.
Drops the mic and walks out.
No, I mean, no. It's when you see yourself. That's a bad way to put it.
Go for it.
Well, I know that you know, because I'm saying that I don't like the 5. I used to ask people, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Then I realized it may be an unfair question.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
You're 30,
No.
I'm 75, so you tell me. What do you see yourself at 35? If you had to envision where you would
idea.
be. That's a good thing,
idea.
though. What do you enjoy?
A friend of mine told me once, a blind faith is a great chauffeur, or the best chauffeur. So that's
Write
what
that down, by the way. It's a good one. A blind faith is a great chauffeur.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really deep. Now, you see, I didn't bring this girl on for nothing, because if she can come up with winners like that, we're in business. This is Romeo. I'm just giving you the skinny. Who's the girl with the accent? She's very interesting. She didn't talk enough. So that's why I got her in here today, because it's just the two of us. She has no choice, unless I babble on for 2 hours.
I'm just an accessory, so.
Yeah, you are.
Accessory to the crime, I guess.
Yeah, I know, you probably are. You never want to say, yes, I've achieved everything I ever wanted to achieve. Now I can, here's the word. That's a dangerous word. I can retire. Now, I'm 57.
Well, I'm ready to retire right now.
Get out of here. You'd be happy on, we said this too, but we'll say it on the air, on an island, and with a drink in your hand, with a cell phone a little bit, and
just a little.
And not really having anything to do but lie in the sun.
That's right.
You cool with that?
I am so cool.
Are you a big sun person, by the way?
Huge.
You love the outdoors.
Yeah.
Are you
I
athletic?
love lying down.
You love lying down outside.
That kind of goes
like the
against
water?
being athletic.
You like the water?
Yeah. I'm an Aquarius. It's an air sign, but I like
That's what my mother is too. February something?
Something 6.
February 6th?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Are you a swimmer?
Yeah, I mean.
I can kind of tell that
I can
for some
float.
reason.
I know how to float.
The body stays above,
Yeah,
above water.
I mastered floating.
Nice. Now, I can see you on a swim team. You have that body. You have that kind of body. They're very long, and you're 5'9". You're 5'9". That's pretty tall for a woman. I dated a woman that was 6'2". Now I'm 6 feet.
Wow.
Now when she put on heels, she was 6'5", 6'6", like the WNBA. She was huge, and it was the first experience I had of somebody really big.
Does
I didn't care.
matter?
I didn't
does it make
care
a
for it.
difference?
She was really big.
But does it make? They say it doesn't make a
Like another
difference in
planet.
bed.
Like she came from another planet. She was huge, but she was so thin that a stiff wind could blow her away. But this is many years ago. But she was actually for some reason, she was from Poland. I don't know why. The other woman from Poland, and when they came from something about that, And it was a German girl that I used to date that I did a play with called The Passion Play. I played Jesus Christ, even though I'm an atheist.
Oh,
I
wow.
played Jesus Christ way back when. How blessed are the poor in spirit, the reign of God is theirs, and all that kind of thing.
Did you have to grow a beard for
Yeah,
that?
I did. I was
Okay.
sexy. It was sexy though. I'm not big on
Like
beards.
a long one?
I had this kind of hair, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
I had a beard, not a long beard like a beard.
Like a young Jesus.
Yeah, like a hip Jesus. But either I
Well,
can.
Jesus died at 33, right?
I was actually exactly 33.
Wow.
But I played it 5 years after that. But the first year was 33. And the thing was with that, if you didn't grow a beard, you would have to put on a beard every night, and it kind of hinders your ability to speak sometimes. So I let my beard grow, and it was during the Easter time when Christ has risen and all that nonsense. And I played this part, but there was a German girl that played Mary Magdalene.
So that's technically your mother.
No, Mary Magdalene was the
friend?
whore.
Oh, wait.
She was the wayward woman.
Maria was the mother.
Mary,
Sorry.
the Virgin Mary, was the mother.
Yeah.
But Mary, I'm glad you know you're. Were you brought up with
Yeah.
any faith?
Yeah.
What faith?
Christian.
Catholic?
Catholic, yeah.
Okay. Mary Magdalene was the town, the wayward woman that Jesus took in and accepted. And, let he who has without sin cast the first stone.
You literally took her in and accepted her.
Well, think about
after
this.
the
Think
play.
about this torrid affair. Think about Jesus Christ doing it with Mary Magdalene. Now, can it be any more salacious than that?
Keep it real.
No, but Mary Magdalene was 22 at the time, and I was 33, and she was. Now the whole idea came back. She was German. And she didn't want to put up with any nonsense that we Americans put up with. She was a no-nonsense person. Her father was a big neurosurgeon. She was brought up in wealth. She didn't want to deal with anything. She would put this country down. And I'm not a big patriotic person. You want to talk, you can talk. Your opinion is as good as anybody else's. At every turn, you Americans, you know how you are. You have no idea you have no idea what's important. You're hung up on your religion, because she was very atheistic, because in Germany, it is not always, but a lot of atheists abound. And she was very atheistic and all these kind of things. And I'm not a believer either, but she would say to me, how I'm trying to do a German there, how were you brought up? But she didn't really sound like that. She had a German accent, but she was starting to become Americanized. But she would ask me, how do you stay in this country when this guy is so wealthy, you were saying, and the other one is so poor, but they commingle. They're on the same street. The wealthy guy will go to his apartment and step over the poor guy on the street, right on Park Avenue, in a sleeping bag, and go to his high-rise, beautiful apartment. Do you see that happening often in New York City, and does it bother you?
Yeah, it doesn't really bother me, because I feel like people make choices to get
So
to
they
places
make
they
their
wanna
own
be.
they make their own bed,
They kind of
so
do.
to speak.
I mean, things still happen. Things out of your control happen. So to put everybody down and be like, you deserve to be homeless because you didn't work hard enough, it's not a right thing to say or think. However, people that make it, and they make it to their Park Avenue apartments, they obviously, not everybody again, most of them probably worked really hard on it. So, somebody here, like, you're meant to be what you're meant to be, and
Right.
you make those choices, you work hard, and wherever it takes you, it takes you. So you can try as much to get to places, and it might not be meant to be this life, it might make it next life. I don't know. I don't have answers either. But
Do you believe in life after? You believe in other life?
I do. I know this is not very
Reincarnation?
Catholic. Yeah, I do believe in reincarnation.
What were you before? Do you know?
I was definitely a human.
That's good to know. I guess.
I was a dinosaur.
Could be.
No,
But you were a human being.
I heard this thing where you can not go back to being an animal, but you can be, let's say, a dog, and then next life you can become a human, but you can't go back. But I feel like there is 3 different kinds of people. You have those young souls, you've got those medium souls, and you've got the old soul. So
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. Go ahead.
yeah, I sort of like believe in that, and I've seen this happen, and I feel like people are born into their lives like multiple times. So depending whether it's like your first time on earth, you might be a young soul where you're just kind of like a, you know, it could be like a bimbo and just trying to
I like
figure
it.
things out, and living very simply and lightly and not thinking a lot. Then you're like a medium soul where you're trying to figure things out, but might not necessarily work out for you at the end of your life. And then you're an old soul, and you're sort of like born into knowing who you are. It's not about career. It's not about anything else related.
How many
to that.
lives have you had? Would you
I feel this is my
estimate?
second one.
Second. Well, talking about career, and you know, when I talk about career, it's a funny thing because money and a living and comfort, your word, is key. But here's the most important thing in my mind. Are you doing what you love to do? Are you going to work not dreading going to work? When that alarm goes off, you say, oh my goodness, I cannot do this another day. Or do you say, rise and shine, I'm happy to go? Neither one, I guess. Rise and, I'm trying to picture
That's
you,
for people
rise
that
and
have
shine.
jobs.
I am so happy to go. No, but do you feel, now, now, are you a heavy sleeper and not very good sleeper or what?
So heavy.
Like a bomb can go off, you would never know.
Nothing.
My goodness. So you have an alarm clock, and it goes beep, 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 beep. How do you, at that moment, looking forward to the new day or what?
I just shut it down and I'll sleep. I fall
And
asleep
roll over.
again. Roll over. That's the time to
Turnover,
roll over.
right?
Exactly.
Like an apple turnover.
I love my sleep.
So how many hours do you get?
Like 8.
Really? That's a
Yeah.
nice night, and you get
I
that
need
deep sleep.
Yeah, I need sleep. I
But-
don't know. I wish I was one of those people that sleep 3-5 hours a day.
Now, you may become that, but right now you're getting 8. You don't know, you change sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Comes with an age, you say?
It's sometimes, but I used to sleep like
They
a
say
rock.
older people are like early risers. I'm not. I guess, yeah.
Are you a morning person?
Not really.
You don't function well in the morning?
I function well any time of the day. What do you mean?
Listen to you. I should know. I should know better.
Exactly.
But when do you function at your optimal?
At night.
Nighttime. Well into the night. You're talking late night.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what time I wake up, but usually night. I'm more so like a night owl. not
Now
an
tell me,
early
is it
bird.
hard for you to go to bed when you're having fun? In other words, do you
What's
want
wrong with
do you want to leave the
this
party?
question?
You want to leave the party? Are
Come
you
on.
the first one to leave the party? Are you the first one to say let's call it a night, or are you the
This
last
question is so wrong.
one? About that? That has nothing to do with anything?
No, the question is wrong because, like, how can you even think of like going to sleep when you're
Aha.
having fun?
There it is. So you want that
Exactly.
thing to carry on the entire
Exactly.
night.
The moment I'm not having fun, I'm going to sleep.
You're going
That's
to sleep.
It. We're done.
What do you
Life
do?
is over.
So are you a club person?
Not really. Not anymore. When I was younger, I used to be a club person because I love to dance.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Techno?
Yeah. House
Is
music.
it house
yeah.
music and that
Not
kind of thing?
necessarily just techno, but
Mhm.
I'm getting into techno right now,
Are you?
actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Are you tech savvy?
Yeah.
You're
I'm a
very
millennial. I'm
right,
very
but you're
just,
very
like,
good with that.
Not, I wouldn't say like I'm a hacker or I'm like.
No, but you're
I'm a
you're
pro.
better. You're as good as most.
I'm like, I was like born in those times where you are sort of like old school and new school at the same time. One leg in the old sort of,
Mhm.
style of living, and then one leg in the newer one. So I'm on the border of like not appreciating social media for what it is
Mhm.
and appreciating social media for what
Now
it
you
is.
say not. Explain that part.
Because I feel like it takes away from our lives, and yeah, it's not healthy.
It's
not
not,
healthy
is
to
it?
compare yourself to other people every day.
Or you think about comparison, thinking this
Yeah,
guy.
I think that's what it
your
triggers.
image on social media.
It triggers that.
So do you think now a young kid growing up with now, for instance, a 15-year-old, 16, growing up with pressure of sustaining a social media presence comparable to their peers, is that rough? Is that tough? Is that tough on a kid? Is that something a kid should have to deal with at a young age?
Yeah, they shouldn't deal with that at all. They should play in a playground and
Right, a little
not have-
merry-go-round, a little
yeah,
swing.
go for a run.
Go
Just,
for a run.
You know, enjoy the outdoors. To laugh with your friends. Don't sit at home and stare at the
Locked
screen that's
into the
like
screen.
radioactive or something. So
As,
no.
as you said that, you glanced, and
I
how,
know
how,
because I got a message.
and how,
I'm
and how
popular.
is-
Sorry.
And don't you turn down that message, the ringer, so you don't answer those messages throughout the day?
Exactly.
Do you have to turn those
You
down?
know it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
turn it off.
Yeah.
I don't deal with it.
What's the
Unless
most
I want to talk to somebody, that's when I make a call or send a message.
the most positive part of social media in your mind?
Staying connected with people. That's the most positive part.
Around the world or
Yes,
your immediate
around
friends?
the world. Yeah, I feel like your immediate friends, you should be connected to them no matter what. But definitely around the world. I've got friends all over the world, and I'm really happy that I can sort of look into their lives and see what's going on with them, and make sure they are good. But then it goes into all this thing where you think someone's living their life and having a great time, where in reality they're actually struggling and they're just putting out those beautiful pictures.
Right.
But getting into that, I feel like is just something that everybody has already talked about.
Right. How about the ability to have the information worldwide, anything you want, as we hear my phone ring, anything you want right at your fingertips without researching too much. Researching on your phone isn't the same as opening a book and really researching
Wow.
and actually
I
maybe
remember
writing
those
things down.
days where you had to go through like.
Wasn't it better
20
ingrained
books.
in your brain that way?
Yeah, people were just more like proactive. They were
They were
smarter.
better. They were more astute at what was going on in the world, and because you had to work for it.
You had to work for it, and while you were on it, you were also learning other things that you thought you didn't need.
Yes.
So
yes.
your brain was constantly working. Right now we're bombarded with information, and all we have to do is just sit and look at it and sort of filter it. But at the same time we don't, because you glance at it, you kind of know what's going on, and then next day you forget about it. That's how short the attention span.